But speaking of people knowing what they're doing, The Rock has a really good knack for picking projects. And it sounds like he's found another video game that he'd like to adapt. Remember, he was in Doom, and wasn't was he in any other
He
video
did
game?
Doom. They did Rampage, which is
Yes.
actually from that. And
Yeah.
he did he do anything else, or he just did Doom and Rampage?
I mean, Jumanji is video game
Jumanji,
based,
they
but it's not based
converted
on
it
a
into a video
game.
game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so but now the big rumor. I mean, because he said it, right? He said it on, like, on Twitter or
Yeah,
somewhere.
he tweeted out. He was like, "I'm doing another video game movie adaptation."
For a game I've been playing for years.
He said
so
the power
now
hierarchy in video games is about to change.
the power hierarchy, the hierarchy of video games. Yeah. So yeah. So what are the rumors, Brett? What have you been hearing out there on the
Everyone's
interwebs?
speculating on what this may mean. The big front runners is we actually know already that Activision has been working on developing a Call of Duty movie. So and I should say one of the parts of his quotes too was that it's a really badass game. And it's one that he's played for years, so it's not something brand new. It's something that's been out. So we kind of know that,
badass.
and it's badass.
Yeah.
So the first thing was like, okay, Call of Duty, because we know that's in production, and Activision loves even signing on celebrities to star in their games. Like Christopher Maloney was in a Call of Duty, Kevin Spacey was in one, and a couple other big celebrities.
Yeah.
So it's very likely that. The other thing that came out, though, is that supposedly a Gears of War movie has been in development, and The Rock has the build of all those big Jax guys in that game, so that could also work very well. The other thing that I thought of was possibly, this hasn't been announced or anything, but I'm sure they're thinking of it, a Fortnite movie, because The Rock, believe it or not, is a character in Fortnite, but not as himself. He's a character called The Foundation, and they could totally go ahead and make a Fortnite movie.
But does the Fortnite count as badass and been around for years?
I mean, it's been around for a couple of years now. But
do you picture The Rock taking time from the Black Adam set to play Fortnite and do the Carlton? I don't know. I understand why you'd think that, because it is a hot IP right now, but I don't see it. I see Gears of War. I see Call of Duty. Well, this is just the nerd in me, but
let's have a little fun with this. Yeah.
Hang on.
Let's talk some out of the box.
In Gears of War, with Gears of War, you always have like three main huge meathead guys, right? It's usually like three big brolic dudes, right?
I think I know where you're going with this.
Hang on. Listen to me. And we have three professional wrestlers who've officially crossed over into Hollywood and are big stars hired by big directors. And you have one of them who just appeared in a Gears of War video game.
That's right.
So what if they were to announce Gears of War with Dwayne Johnson, Dave Bautista, and John Cena as the main three guys? Can't you picture the three of them in the fatigues?
I think that would actually make a bazillion dollars.
Right? And they're all huge stars now. John Cena is a made man after Peacemaker. Batista has been blowing up with Guardians of the Galaxy, and he was in Blade Runner, and he was in Dune, and he was in James Bond. And now The Rock. Like, imagine the three of them announced for Gears of War. That would be banana, to reference a wrestling thing. But but then Call of Duty is an interesting one. Just because, like, I don't know, did you ever play the campaigns on those?
I'm not a huge Call of Duty fan.
Okay.
But I played Call of Duty World War II. I played that campaign.
Okay.
And I played a little bit of, I believe, Modern Warfare, which is probably, I feel like, where they would probably go.
Yeah. Well, because what I was going to say was those original Modern Warfare games, because those revolutionized Call of Duty. The Call of Duty games had existed for a while, but when Modern Warfare came out, that's when like the world took notice, right? Yep. And in those single player campaigns, in all three of them, there's like a thread that goes throughout all three. There is something very Hollywood about it, because you have like the ragtag group of guys, you got the rookie, you have the grizzled veteran, you have
the
all big set pieces, all different kinds of action. You have helicopters and jets. You have carrying your wounded partner through the fields. And then there's all this political intrigue. In those storylines, there was always about like overthrowing governments and dealing with dictators, and the government's asking you to do one thing, but then there's a black ops guy asking for side missions. Like if they were to adapt from the Modern Warfare vein, I think they actually could do a pretty awesome movie with The Rock. The only thing that worries me is they're going to want this thing to make bank. They're going to want this thing to be like one of those franchises they could crank one out all the time, because that's how Hollywood thinks, right? They're going to want it to be PG-13 in that case. And that just makes me wonder about like a gritty war movie at PG-13. You know, like, I don't know if they could pull it off. And if they do, like, you know, take the edges off and make it less violent and make it more like commercial, then will it really work? You know what I mean? Because Call of Duty, I mean, you know, it's going to be fascinating to see if that is the movie and how they choose to go forward. But to me, like, as long as they keep it tonally within those modern warfare games, and you have The Rock as the central guy in there, I think it could be a big hit. I'm just very intrigued about a PG-13 Call of Duty Hollywood franchise, you know?
Right.
But like, which one, like, of those three, or something off the beaten path, what would you like to hear The Rock say he's doing next?
Yeah, I mean, I part of me wants him to, like, I actually think Cena would probably be better for this, but part of me wants to say he's doing Duke Nukem. Like, I want to see like somebody, like a character like that come back with like cheesy one-liners and have a good time with that.
He would be great as that. Yeah.
There was another one on the tip of my tongue, and it's gone. It just I lost it. It's gone to the ether. But if I think about it, I'll revisit it.
All right. So on that note, we're leaving this. Goodbye, video game.